Hello everyone, welcome back to Sports Cabri and Curious Harry. Arnav told us he's going to be joining us in a bit. We had, of course, another very interesting game of football because, in the end, for the title race, all these games matter quite a bit, and it's thrown another twist into the tale for the ISL League Shield. It was Mohun Bagan who ended up winning this one 1-0. Demi Petratos, the difference maker in the end, the goal scorer for Mohun Bagan, and he ran in the huge victory in the context of the title race. Your thoughts on the game? Let's start off.
Uh, First of all, hello to everyone. And as you mentioned rightly, this was a huge game in terms of the title race. And FC गोवा के पास मौका था कि ओडिशा एफसी के साथ वो जो गैप है उसको कम कर सकते थे एंड विथ गेम इन हैंड. बट आई थिंक मोहन बगान ने जिस तरह से इस विक्ट्री को पुल अप किया है, आई थिंक ग्रेट क्वालिटी मैच. दैट्स दी, आई थिंक एज ए न्यूट्रल, दैट्स दी, आई वुड से कि best part in a sense ki quality match from the both the side. The way Manolo Marquez has set up with their lineup and the tactics they used and what Antonio Havas did, I think absolutely brilliant to see. So I think overall quality wise it was a great game. First up, I would say it's more about the FC Goa where they dominated much throughout the game, and I think that's where कहीं ना कहीं वो आई थिंक उनको हर्ट कर गया. फर्स्ट हाफ में जो चांसेस उनको मिले थे उसको कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाए. That Ode Onadia goal was a controversial decision from the referee side. I would say there should be a goal. I think he is not offside, and I think it's not gone over the line. So for me, that's a clear cut goal. But unfortunately, that goal disallowed, and that is the difference maker at the moment. If you see, and second half, I would say that Mohan Bagan come up with a more intensity. They show more passion, intent, and that's where they able to can say कि force FC Goa's defense to make those errors. जब गोल आया उससे पहले आई थिंक ओडे ओनादिया ने भी वो मिसकम्युनिकेशन हुआ था बिटवीन देम एंड वो यहाँ पे टेकल जोनिको को बॉक्स के अंदर किया था, तो वहां पे वो बच गए थे. बट उसके बाद जिस तरह से यहाँ पे भाई जो दूसरा चांस बना है, आई थिंक वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अर्शदीप सिंह की गलती थी कि ज्यादा ही उन्होंने अर्ली कमिट कर दिया, बिकॉज आई थिंक इजीली ओडे ओनादिया उसको कवर अप कर सकते थे. सो वहां पे फिर भाई पेत्रा तो उसका बेहतरीन फिनिश आना. सो ओवरऑल वेरी गुड लाइनअप. इन आगे वन बाय वन प्लेयर की भी हम बात करेंगे, बट आई थिंक इट वाज अ ग्रेट गेम टू see. And I think now the sealed race is widely open with this first defeat of the season for you can say Manolo Marquez side in this ISL. So that's also quite remarkable thing in terms of the break that you can say winning streak, and great confidence booster for you can say Mohun Bagan to get a away win against FC Goa. I think that's a great thing.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, Akash saying that no quality from FC Goa up front, which is also kind of fair. I think this is not the first time I've seen this from FC Goa for a while now that they create chances, but they somehow just don't take enough of them. And yeah, five-team title race for sure. It looks like it's wide open right now. On the goal hearing,
Goa has this
yeah,
season. Goa has created most chances and they have a more shot on target. But unfortunately, they are the not you can say the top goal scorer in this season, and that's they're one of the biggest issue. Carlos Martinez, Noha Sadoi, Boris, Brendan, whoever plays in that front four, I think not creating that you can say the finishing chances, and that's the biggest worry for Manolo Marquez. To be honest, if you see their throughout the season, they most of the match they won by the 1-0 scoreline, and that's the one of the factor. They created more chances, but they didn't able to finish. And today also in the first half, they easily should have scored a one or two goal easily, despite that Ode Oda their chance. I think there is a two three very good chance where they easily can finish those chances, but unfortunately they didn't able to do it. And I think वो कहीं ना कहीं यहाँ पे आपको पे ऑफ करना पड़ा with that single goal margin. So that is the big issue. Manolo Marquez needs to sort out how to make this team more you can say key in terms of the finishing wise accurate and to score those chances. So that's where I think they are currently a little bit struggling. Otherwise, I think Jay Gupta has a very good. To be honest, I think in the first half he looks really impressive. Ode Onadia and Carl McHugh done a very good job to be honest as a centre back. Seriton, most of the attack, if you see FC Goa is created by the left side in the first half. So in that sense, I think they are the good, but I think the finishing of the their forwards are a worrying sign for Manolo Marquez.
yeah, absolutely. And that tells a story. A side that's creating so many chances and doesn't take enough, that is going to be very. It could prove really costly for FC Goa come the end of the season, and it's frightening. Even quickly on the goal, I thought it's something that I always think about. If the keeper comes for these sort of moments, you have to whack it. You have to get it clear. There is no option. If you half clear it, if you just get a bit on it here, there, and all of that, I think the keeper takes the blame in that in the end for those. And yeah, what do you think? You think it was? I know you said Ashdeep should be taking some of the blame. I think Ashdeep, for me, takes most of the blame, at least in this case.
I think it's a totally his mistake because I think Ode Onadia would have been covered that you can say कि that run the player making of Mohun Bagan and कुछ early थोड़ा सा early commit करके I think he should have been waited and आपने जैसे बिल्कुल सही बोला कि अगर कीपर थोड़ा सा आगे commit कर रहा है then he should be clear all out not you can say कि half clearance so I think that's the difference maker and if you give a chance to Petratos then he will to I don't think so कि there are a very few ISL attackers who can finish like him. So I think in first half also he take a one very beautiful shot and where Asleep made a brilliant shot. But in the second
Yeah,
half there is no chance to do anything. So I think definitely it's Asleep's mistake.
yeah, left-footed effort, I think, if in the first half.
Hmm.
But yeah, Anava, coming to you about this game. First of all, welcome, and yeah, it's such a big game in the context of the title race, and it was decided on a moment. Uh, Probably inexperience from the keeper who hasn't played. I mean, at the national level. What do you make of the sort of moment that decided this game?
Good evening, everyone. I would think that no, I wouldn't say that it's a matter of experience. I think it's a matter of judgment. I think he judged the situation wrong. It happens, and to me, it was a game where one or two people would potentially make a mistake, and that would decide the game. Because we discussed it yesterday, right? It's either going to be that sort of KG encounter with limited chances, and it was that kind of game, or otherwise it's an open play. Uh, um, so for me, certainly, that was just visible, and you realize that it was a tactical game. You saw both the coaches whenever there were these situations which are like 50-50 trying to put pressure on Crystal John and the referee. The referee did so far I saw everything right, maybe here and there, but again, Crystal John has come for a lot of criticism over the years, and Dimi Petratos to me has proven again what I've been saying for quite a while, that he's the most important attacker for Mohun Bagan. For ATK Mohun Bagan, for Mohun Bagan, you've brought in Cummings, you've brought in Sadiku, but Dimi Petratos is that man. He's becoming sort of like Adrian Luna was at Kerala Blasters, sort of, that he's like the talisman of the team. You saw how he celebrated his goal after equalizing against East Bengal in the derby, and this is something which is very, very interesting to see. And I said to you guys when I saw yesterday's press conference with Manolo, it was like maybe Manolo, as someone who felt it, okay, the loss might be coming very, very soon. It came today. And it puts a lot of pressure now on FC Goa, because can they keep up the momentum? Because for always the teams who've played less matches, it doesn't mean that you're going to get that one or two or three matches, you're going to win all of them, right? So that's a different kind of pressure. And Mohun Bagan has the self-belief back. I think that's the most important thing, that this team, with all the problems, Mohun Bagan has multiple injuries. I mean, you're playing with a very, very young Dipendu Biswas at the back, who I think most people will not even known a month ago. One has to give credit to Mohun Bagan Super Giant for this.
I
Absolutely,
think
the
sir rightly mentioned Dipendu Biswas has a brilliant game today. I think the understanding the way he the Mohun Bagan's backline was compact in the first half. I think that was the difference maker. Otherwise, the Carlos Martinez and if you see first half, Carlos Martinez and Noha Sadeh both have tried to take a shot outside the box most of the time because the backline of the Mohun Bagan is very compact in the box and they able to force them to you can say take a shot from outside box and I think Brendan also take one or two shot from outside the box. So I think Dipendu Biswas playing I think first match in this season maybe. I didn't see him played throughout the season. So I think definitely the kudos to the youngster with the pair up you can say Hector. It's a brilliant performance from him.
yeah. Pashmi Parneshwar again on the goal, saying that Arshdeep shouldn't have come out and let the defenders deal with it, which is fairly true. Sandesh and Victor's injuries have spoiled the party for FC Go. You guys think so? Or how costly have these injuries been for them?
In the combination of that, you're forced to use Carl McHugh in a different way. That's your first problem. That's one. And your second problem is Victor Rodriguez was in the first leg against Mohun Bagan in his prime. He got injured when he was actually peaking. And that is the sad part for Manolo, that the player who, some people questioned why you bring in Victor Rodriguez. He had an okay season at Odisha FC last season, but he said, listen, you know, this is what I want. And on the other side, Sandesh is, a mentality monster. And he and Uday and Arshdeep together were really, really a solid pairing.
Yep, yep. We ended up saying Sahal though, disappearing after one left. What do you guys make of Sahal? They,
Sahal, I think Sahal and Thapa, to be honest, particularly Thapa didn't look that much convincing to me, to be honest. And I think that's why Tony Coco comes up in place in second half, and that would clearly made the difference in the second half. If you see the way Mohun Bagan getting a more ball, you can say in the second half compared to first half, and also Sahal Abdul Samad, I think the decision making can be a little bit improved, definitely, and. Other than that, I really disappointed with the, you can say Manvir Singh was good in defense, but I think offensively he's been really poor. The last chance, I think the pass he made to the Petratos clearly says that he is, you can say, low on confidence. So in that sense, I think some of the players needs to step up their game. I think the substitution of, you can say, Leston Colasso was very impactful. I think the pace he brings, the, you can say, the quick legs. I think that really you can say open up the Epsico's defense. So I think that was a very smart, you can say,
yeah.
substitution from the Antonio Hobas.
The Pine also saying that Liston was so good today, and but he's been that kind of player. I think for most periods is that sometimes he blows hot, sometimes he blows cold, but you never know what you're going to get out of Liston Colasso, and that's the sort of issue that you have with him in the end. Yeah, if you speak about the table, guys, Odisha still sit pretty at the top, 31 points, 15 games. They've played 2 games more than FC Goa, who are sitting on 28. Now, a day before, we were saying, oh wow, FC Goa are probably likely to go ahead. And I never said it, probably shouldn't assume that these guys are going to win every game. And as fate would have it, they ended up losing one of those. And now they've got 2 games in hand. So it's going to be very interesting. Mohun Bagan are right on their tails. They're 26 points, but they've played 13 as well. It's really close at the top, and it's again like so hard to call it. I'm gonna ask you guys every single day after we have a sort of game at the top. Anama, what's gonna happen now with the title race? Are you edging towards one particular team or two particular teams, something like that?
No, I'm not edging to any team. I would say that Odisha has one advantage. They have 31 points on the board. Period. The others, be it Goa, be it Mohun Bagan, Kerala, and Mumbai, all of them have to catch up. I mean, even think about Mumbai City as 25 from 13. If they win two, they're also on 31 as Odisha. So that makes it so interesting. Goa had an advantage. If Goa had won those 3 games, they could have gone to 37. That would have been sort of, you're one leg already towards the league shield. Now the whole situation has changed, and it shows you what I said a few weeks ago, that this title race is going to be crazy. And that's why I also said, the second half of the table between 6th and 11th, anything is possible. I mean, we would have spoken about most probably East Bengal with the Super Cup and all of that, good derby performance. You know what, East Bengal looked to be one of the potential favorites. That has changed. 2 losses down, and suddenly you're in a different situation. Suddenly Northeast look good again. BFC look on the up with those results. The most impressive to me is Punjab FC. But again, that can change tomorrow against Jamshedpur again. If Jamshedpur get a point or a win, whoever gets a win in that game tomorrow suddenly jumps into 6th place. A draw would be the best, so to say, for the situation on the table, but it's an insane table in regard to the top 5 and the race for the 6th place. I mean, I think we've never had such an interesting season in the history of the Indian Super League.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Vineet saying now I can say Mumbai City have a good chance. For me, I think they're always going to be the favorites. I always said it even when they were slightly behind. Mumbai City probably for me have been they just look so commanding and so composed, and I still think they're the favorites to win the league shield at 25 points. Like Arnava said, if they win their 2 games in hand, they're level on points with Odisha, and winning 2 games is of course very likely for Mumbai, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Hiren, are you edging, looking towards one team, Odisha, some other team now at this stage?
Nine, I think it's still very difficult, as rightly mentioned by this. If there is a 2-3 matches, you get a winning streak, and you are certainly in the, you can say, the title race or the sixth position race. If you lose the one match, and then again back to the square one. And if you see FC Goa's next 3 matches, they have a Northeast United, Kerala Blaster, and Mumbai City. So they have some really tough games. So I think that makes also the matches between those top five is going to be the difference maker, I would say. And that makes this season a very, very special, to be honest. And I think this is going to be the one of the thriller season of the ISL's history, without a doubt, in terms of the field race also, and in terms of the playoffs qualification. I think that sixth position race is also a similar kind of a, you can say, key race, such as this you can say, field race. So I think FC Goa, Odisha FC in March will be crucial, because they have two AFC Cup matches. So in that round, if they loses one or two, then again two, you can say, the team behind them can have a chance to, you can say, make a comeback. So I think there is a lot of things going to be changed in this next 2 months, and I think that's going to be exciting for us as a, you can say, Indian football fan, to see such a season. And definitely Mohun Bagan, if continue this run, then they are, I think, one of the definitely a strong contender, because they have some very good Indian players also. And if they're remaining, you can say, 2-3 injuries fit हो जाते हैं, then I think they can definitely put up a very good challenge. Mumbai City is always contender. Kerala Blaster, let's see, after the Ivan Vukonovic, you can say, what he said after the match was really, really, you can say, shows his frustration. Today in the press conference also, he clearly mentioned about that. So I think totally, I think राहुल, तुम हमको हर रोज पूछोगे, लेकिन I don't think so कि me or Nava sir is able to going to answer that thing till that, I think, last game week.
I
But
think Odisha has one huge
but
problem, which Hiren mentioned, and that is they'll have to travel to Australia in between. That's not a. This is something which I said in the first half of the season, which was a problem, I think, for Mumbai City. You have to travel to Saudi, you have to travel to Iran, you have to travel to Uzbekistan. That didn't make stuff easy, and the team couldn't settle down. For Odisha, that will be the most challenging in that month. That travel to Australia, which is, I don't know if you're going to travel via Singapore, or you can, if you can travel via Dubai, that would be even worse. Even a longer journey. That is going to cost you a lot of energy. That will sap a lot of energy out of you. So for Odisha, any point that they can get in the month of February in the remaining matches until they travel AFC Cup, it's going to be important. So therefore, I think it's a very interesting scenario. And the interesting part is, I think, the question of injuries. I think we realized yesterday that East Bengal, with all the injuries and cards problems that they faced, is a different team, right? So that is going to be a deciding factor. Goa, first half of the season, Kerala Blasters, first half of the season, they were top, right? But they lost Luna, they lost Victor Rodriguez, they lost Sandesh Jingan. East Bengal seems to have lost South Crespo. Anwar Ali, let's see, if and when he can come back for Mohun Bagan. It's a very, very interesting scenario at the moment. I think, and more injuries will happen. I think this is one thing where, what I said yesterday also is that people are looking to expand the season in Indian football, but they're not realizing that for the weather conditions, the travel, and all that stuff makes it very, very difficult. If you're used to a 20 to 25 match season and you're suddenly playing 35, 40 matches, that will be a factor towards the end. And again, it's the month of April. Let's see who's all fit. I think that's going to be the question. Who's going to get injured? And cards. You saw East Bengal played without Clayton Silver because of a card suspension. Now they've got Lalchul Munga and Mahesh out. The others have had, Akash Mishra to sit out. This guy, UL Fanif has to sit out. This guy has to sit out. That guy has to sit out. There are a lot of factors which are going to come.
yeah, guys, any chance that Ashik can make it back?
No,
Can
I don't
no,
think so.
no.
Next
yeah,
season.
Ashik
yeah,
has a more serious injury. I think realistically comes back next season. I am interested to see when Anwar gets back to full
yeah,
fitness. I think
yeah.
that's a question where I'm fearing that that's going to be an on off thing. And again, I'm interested to see who at that time Igor Stimac really puts out, because again also I felt we've spoken a lot about Jay Gupta, but Jake Gupta is becoming an Indian level player, right? He had another calm game, right? So you're seeing this up and down, which we've talked about other players, and that worries me. That he's sort of picking up traits of what's a usual Indian player rather than what he's been bringing in from a player's been.
Absolutely, guys. Here an important game tomorrow. I think there's not going to be a day when we're going to say, okay, you know what, it's a dead rubber, and then we'll move on. But tomorrow again, it's huge. Punjab FC, second half of the season, have come back strong. They've come back rejuvenated. Luka Marcin leading this sort of this team for the first time in the ISL and doing it so well. And now they take on Jamshedpur. The winner of this has the opportunity to go sixth. Huge stakes, pretty much in every game in the ISL. What are you expecting from tomorrow's match?
And definitely, it's going to be an exciting encounter between Punjab FC and Jamshedpur without a doubt. Because जिस तरह की away में win लेके आ रहे हैं Punjab FC, they are on a high on confidence definitely, and they are second half of the season की शुरुआत जिस तरह से उन्होंने की है, I think last four matches they won three, so that shows their and draw one. I think so that shows their you can say confidence level, and definitely they're a deadly trio of forward. I think Mary Tala, Jordan, Wilmar Jordan, and Luka Magician. I think that these three will be really put up for them definitely. But I think I want to see if they you can say they need to get into that sixth position. Then I think their backline and midfield also needs a little bit more support. They need to provide more support. Then only we can expect that they can be, I would say, in the sixth position race. In terms of the Jamshedpur, I think they put up a very good performance, particularly the second half against BFC. That was a really good half, and they can easily score 2-3 goals, but unfortunately they didn't able to. So they at the home they you can see satisfied with the 1 point only. But I think it will be equally matched, to be honest. I think no doubt playing at the Punjab FC at their home, but I think it will be equally fight just as today. And both the teams are going for that sixth position race. So for BFC and Northeast United, a draw would be ideal result. But I think for both the teams, if they get the 3 points, then I think they have a huge advantage. So I'm expecting a really close match.
Shall we saying Jamshedpur, Punjab, Northeast, and BFC are the five teams fighting it out for four teams fighting it out for this spot. It's interesting because uh, I mean Hyderabad are pretty much out of it. I think it's fair to say, although I mean the circumstances are unfortunate and all of that, they are out of it pretty much. Annama East Bengal, would you rule them out of it at this stage?
No, I think I even Chennai I wouldn't rule out because you're not too
And
far away, right? So from that perspective, I feel um, you know 2 wins as I've said 2 wins, 3 wins. You're suddenly back in the action. We've seen it Punjab FC. I think 2 weeks ago, no one would have said Punjab FC ISL playoffs. Nah, they knew they don't look good. They were on 8 points, right? They're now on 14. They're in the middle of it. So that is the interesting thing that we've seen over the last few weeks. That is stable at the top. Also, I think 2 weeks ago we'd have said, you know what, FC Goa and yeah, the Blasters might challenge them. Odisha look TK. Odisha then won. Odisha has now moved ahead, and this makes it so you know it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, and therefore I think I wouldn't count anyone. And I think Hyderabad have been playing decent, and at some stage Hyderabad is going to get a win. I don't see Hyderabad losing or losing all matches and not scoring. Hyderabad is the same thing what I've said about other teams, especially like Punjab, is like they need a goal. If they get a goal, if they can get it, somehow win, I think it might be an interesting scenario.
It's so interesting right now because Chennai play Blasters day after tomorrow, and then on Saturday you've got Northeast playing Mohun Bagan, Hyderabad play East Bengal as well. So by the end of the week we'll know so much more, and it's like every day is a new story. And on Sunday again, BSC are away to Mumbai City, so it doesn't stop at all here. And yeah, let's talk about Jamshedpur because I think they deserve to be spoken about. What have you made of them after this break that we've had from the ISL?
Sorry, मैं आपका क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा सुन नहीं पाया.
Sorry, in Jamshedpur. Let's just talk about Jamshedpur
हाँ,
because we need to speak about them. They've
okay,
done
got it.
pretty well after in the second half. Yeah. What do you make of it?
I think a similar kind of a story as I think Punjab FC. Their forward line has picked up. First half of the season, both the teams are creating chances, but they didn't able to finish those chances. But second half of the season, I think Jamshedpur's Manzaro and Chimachuku and everyone, I think stepped up, and I think that's a really positive sign for Jamshedpur. Xavier Siverio also comes up and score a goal, so that's also good sign for them. And their midfield, Imran Khan and everyone is doing really good. Nikhil Balra is there, also a very promising player. So in that sense, I think Elsinio in the back line. So these players are now stepped up and mm, you can say the in terms of the finishing wise, they're scoring the goals. So I think that's why they become a very lethal team now, and definitely they deserve a credit. And the way they perform in the Super Cup, as you can say, give them a lot of confidence, and which they're trying to be you can say implicate in this remainder of the season. And if they continue, then definitely I think Jamshedpur and Punjab can you can say crush down the hopes of maybe East Bengal BFs if they continue with a performance like this. So there were some very good quality Indian players who stepped up in this season. I am little bit concerned about their bench. I think the bench is little bit weaker. So if they get a one or two injury, then I think the season maybe or the performance or the uh, things will be go downside. But otherwise, I think they are looking very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Shield race is wide open. Rachit asking who is going to win the Shield according to you guys. Both of them have said I think they can't call it at at this moment. So it'd be interesting to hear from you guys as to who you think will win the League Shield in the end. Because yeah, I think it's very hard for any of us to make our minds up at this point. Adama and Jamshedpur,
I
Hiren
would,
said
I
that.
would, I would say let's have this conversation maybe in mid-March before the FIFA break. I think that will be where
Mm.
we will be a little clearer. Most teams will have 16, 17, 18 matches played. I think then we are looking towards the final stretch. Then we can. At the moment, again, I would have said up to yesterday most probably FC Goa, but I don't know. I yesterday already said right. I felt that there was more potential and upset in there somewhere, um, um, and
Yeah.
and and therefore suddenly the whole thing is open again, as is the top six race. That sixth spot. Therefore, um, I don't agree with Naresh that KBFC don't have less chance than the other clubs, because I think KBFC just need one or two wins and they're back in the race. So therefore, I don't count anybody else. Nobody looking at this. Also at Odisha, that AFC Cup travel to Australia is going to be a problem for them. I'm telling you now. In my opinion, that's going to be a problem because it's energy sapping, and then you've got the international break. You don't know how the players are going to come back, right? It's very interesting. The number of coaches are complaining now about the fitness levels of the Indian players after they came back from Asian Cup. So that's a totally, that's an interesting discussion actually, which we could also have actually. So, um, you know, I would think at the moment, if I look at it, I would think Odisha looks to me top favorite to be top of mid March, but I don't know if they're going to be the champions at the end of the league shield. If you ask me
Like
that
you
shit like that.
on Odisha itself. Um, but again, it's hard. It's very hard to predict, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Hiren, danger men for you tomorrow, guys that you probably think could make the difference.
Wilmar Jordan, sorry, Mehdi Tala. I think
Okay.
Mehdi Tala will be the for me the danger man. I think the capabilities he has possesses. I think it's a brilliant to see a player like him in the ISL. To be honest, so I think in terms of the skill, I think he's been absolutely brilliant. But I think Wilmar Jordan also will be a you can say threat. And from Jamshedpur, I agree with Segi. Manzaro will be the main man for them because I think for both the teams, I think the creators, Meritala and Manzaro will be the exciting player to watch.
Expecting an open game, Hiren?
I think so. I think so. It will be open game because both the teams are not the teams who sit back and defend. I think both the teams like to go. So I think that in that sense, I'm expecting a good game and maybe a high scoring game rather than a 1-0, 1-1 type game.
Yep, absolutely. Anuma, quickly, let's get predictions in as well from you. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow, and any players that you're looking at particularly?
Talal versus Manzoro. I think that's going to be the duel of the two sort of French guys, and I would think 3-2 Punjab.
Okay, fair enough. Hiren? 3-2 Punjab.
I think it will be 2-2 draw,
2-2 draw.
or
Okay,
maybe
interesting.
2-2 draw, or maybe 2-1 victory to Punjab FC. This will be my prediction.
I mean, it's insane because I think now we see Punjab going in as favourites to games, not something that you would have expected in the first half of the season. So, yeah, it's just so interesting and it makes for a great second half of the season. Yeah, it is the battle of the creative midfielders. You got Mehdi Talal versus Monzoro. It's going to be fun tomorrow. Jamshedpur versus Punjab FC. And yeah, guys, we'll be back to discuss all of that tomorrow. Again, thanks for joining in. Like and share these videos, subscribe to channels Sports Kabhi, Curiosity, and Arun Foot. Yep. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.